Has it ever occurred to you that people label their world, and as such, they lose connection with the actual truth about their world in their definitions that they use for themselves? It also may also encapsulate their unwillingness to see clearly, unwilling to see truthfully. Their ability to see clearly and truthfully is limited by the prejudice and the definitions that they hold. Like on my podcast, I like to bring awareness and ascension to the listener. And I find that when you call someone retarded, for example, it's not that the other person is retarded. It's not that the other person is autistic. It's not that the other person is bipolar, whatever you want to label them. And no, I'm not a psychologist. And no, the person who typically says those particular insults are not a psychologist. So even if they are a psychologist and they, have been even a PhD in the subject, they're not going to know that other person until they let go of the label they placed upon them, until they let go of the prejudice that has them limited. They won't be able to see the other person. So the other person is only retarded according to the definitions and prejudice that they have for themselves, or definitions and the prejudice of the other person, especially if they take it on for themselves. So a little mini episode on retarded and all these other grid terms which people use all the time to describe people, and I wanted to tell you all about how I feel about them. Get out of the prejudice of the mind. Ground oneself in the truth frequency or nature's frequency, which I have various exercises in my other shorts and my other videos that I've made on my channel. Living as Myself podcast, and I am Paul Barboza. I believe in the ascension of humanity, and I believe in sustainability. And one way to help with this particular problem with labels and prejudice is, and how to ground oneself in truth, is to seek nature or the natural world, placing your hand upon the ground, a tree, a rock, a stone, a crystal, upon your heart. Whatever is going to ground you into that truth frequency, because whatever is not experienced directly in an energetic way is a construct or a prejudice that will remove us from ourselves. So just a quick reminder, if you're struggling with prejudice or people calling you names, especially if they're doing it increasingly more and more, it means that you are more and more yourself, and perhaps that you are triggering them more and more. And that's why they're trying to limit you by insulting you or prejudicing the way you exist, to limit the freedom that you have so that they can feel better about themselves. Once you remove this prejudice from yourself or from another person, which you cannot do, it's all according to the relationships we have with ourselves. If you truly want healing, stop seeking it in others. You're the only person who could ever heal you. Once you stop prejudicing yourself and others, you will begin to see people in a different way, where you may have had that label before, oh, they're retarded, or oh, they're limited in some way, or oh, they have this problem, so they need to go and get therapy and help, which, a lot of the time it's just really label making and trying to live in a different way or accept something about yourself which isn't true, which just limits your potential. You'll begin to see, if you stop limiting them or yourself by prejudicing, that you actually exist in a totally different way than you thought, and they existed in a totally different way than you thought, or vice versa. And you'll begin to see the divinity of the person. You'll begin to see the divinity of yourself. And coming from an existential state of existence where you're actually experiencing the world, where you're actually experiencing the other person without anything predefining yourself or others, you will begin to connect on a soul level. You'll begin to see them in their struggles. You'll begin to see them in their relationships. And you'll also begin to see yourself in a similar way. Your senses and your clarity and your sense of the divine will increase without these definitions, without these predetermined experiences, without these predetermined subsets of limiting belief systems will just fall away from you, and you'll begin to truly see who and what is in front of you and begin to actually enjoy your life from a state of satisfaction, because that only comes with the presence of your soul. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as it helps my channel grow and spreads my message across America and the world. You can visit my link tree, which will be in the description of this video. See all of my products and services that I offer. I hope that this brings you clarity, help you live a clearer, more conscious state of existence where your soul is actually present and you're satisfied by your presence, because that's the only thing that's ever going to satisfy you.